Hi caregivers, I'm Carol Howell and you have just tuned in to Let's Talk Dementia, and I'm glad you're here. I want to bring you some good dementia education that will make your caregiving experience easier, more meaningful for both you and for your loved one. Now that's a good plan, isn't it? You got to admit, that's a good plan. Today we're going to talk about life is going to change. Ooh, scratchy, scratchy. Life is going to change. Make a plan. But before I do that, I want to invite you to write me at carol@letstalkdementia.org. Write me with whatever's on your mind. Maybe you've got a funny story or a question or just something you need to talk about. Honey, I'm here for you. Just write me, carol@letstalkdementia. You can also find all the work we produce at letstalkdementia.org, including our Amazon best-selling book, Let's Talk Dementia. Wonderful ways for you to learn about dementia very simply, very easily, and you can contact me also. Life is going to change. Make a plan. Starting to call this show Life is Going to Change. Get over it. Either way, it works. But you know what else is true? Life is going to change whether you make a plan or not. And if that is true, and it is, then maybe we should plan. You know, there are things in our life we cannot plan for. It's not like we sit around and go, I think when I turn 48 I'll get cancer. Or when I'm 76 I sure would like to have Alzheimer's. Well, that's not the kind of planning we can do. Those things may happen. We can't plan for that. But there are things we can plan for, we should plan for, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. So first and foremost, we want to make sure we have a will in place. If you are earning an income, pretty much whatever age you are, unless you're babysitting at age 12, maybe we'll cut you a break there. But if you are gainfully employed, and especially if you have someone who is dependent upon your income, you need to have a will. But even if you don't have that someone that's dependent upon you, but you're gainfully employed, let's go ahead and get that will in place, and you'll just have it done for a while. That will shall state. That sounded funny. Your desires, what happens to your money and the things that you've gained and earned and gathered that you possess upon your death. And that's important to have written down. And then also a living will. That living will say what you want to happen to you should you become incapacitated. These are my desires. I don't want to be on life support. Don't want a feeding tube. Or maybe you do want life support and you do want a feeding tube. More power to you, by the way, but it needs to be written down. And then you need a power of attorney. Now, there is a thing called a general durable power of attorney, and that means that general is it covers most everything. Durable means that that power of attorney is in effect until the time that you die. The very minute you die, no one has a power of attorney over you any longer. Now, I say general in that it covers most things. The IRS does not recognize a power of attorney, neither does the Veterans Administration. There are limitations there. So think about who you want, who you trust in your life to make decisions regarding you and your finances and your life should you not be able to. Durable, as I explained, is until you die, but why do you need one that's not durable? Well, I can tell you that I was appointed power of attorney on 3 different occasions to sell a house for my mama, and she was out of town. She was actually out of my state where the property was, and she signed a power of attorney, and I was able to handle everything about the selling of that property. But it wasn't durable, it was just for the selling of that property. But you need a general durable power of attorney, and then a health care power of attorney, and a living will. Have all of that put together, and let that person know that you have chosen to be your power of attorney, to be your health care power of attorney, to be the executor of your will. Let them know in advance they've been chosen. Make sure they're willing to do the job. And then periodically go through and look at, has anything changed in your life that might cause you to want to make changes in your will? Maybe someone passed away, or maybe a baby was born and you want to add them. Maybe you really like Let's Talk Dementia and you want to add us to your will. That's a great idea. I'm so glad I thought about that. In the process of planning, especially if you're caregiving for someone with dementia, maybe you're caregiving in your home for them, maybe you go to their home, maybe they come to your home periodically, whatever, you need to make the home setting safe. You need to remove throw rugs. Throw rugs are just asking for somebody to catch their toe on them and down they go. Make sure you have a shower chair available. And if you don't have a shower chair and you put a shower chair, you're going to write me and go, I love sitting in the shower on my shower chair. It's pretty nice. You're going to get one of the removable shower heads. It hooks up top and you can pull the cord down, and now you can rinse off the body. It makes showering so much easier for your loved one. Removing knives and scissors and dangerous things that someone with advanced dementia might be able to get a hold of. Hazardous chemicals, Clorox, cleaning supplies, getting them out of the way. You need to make day-to-day activities easier, such as dressing, maybe labeling the dresser drawers. My brother-in-law Ernie has PTSD from having served in Vietnam, and he's bipolar, so he has a lot that he deals with. Being exposed to Agent Orange is not a good thing, folks. And he's never really cared so much about picking up after himself. His room would scare you to death. That's the way it was the whole time I've known him. But he recently moved to an assisted living here in Florida. He moved when we did, and in his assisted living, before he arrived, on his dresser, I labeled each of the drawers. One says underwear, one says t-shirts, pants, whatever. Labeled where everything goes. He has a little cabinet in the bathroom, and I labeled the bathroom drawers too. I'm telling you, there is a hair on my face. I know there is. I'm feeling it. But the whole time I'm doing it, I'm thinking I'm doing it for the caregiver, so the caregivers will know where all of Ernie's things are. Well, this particular community will launder his clothes. He sets them out in the hall on Thursday night, I think, and on Friday morning they miraculously appear, all washed and dried and folded. I tried that at my house. It did not work. I hope it works at your house, but it did not work for me. But it sure works for Ernie. And shock of shocks, Ernie put his clothes away because he knew where everything went. And it was not an experience Ernie had had in the past of that kind of organization. I just think that's cool. So anyway, you want to make day-to-day activities easier, such as finding the clothes easier, where they're located. Now realize as dementia progresses, your loved ones may see the signs and not read the signs, or they may no longer be able to read. But depending on their stage of dementia, this can be helpful for them. It's always helpful for caregivers. Maybe organize the closet so that there may be only 7, 8, maybe 10 hangers in there, and each hanger has a complete day's outfit on there. Shirt, pant, underwear, socks, all of that on one hanger. It will make it easier for your loved one, easier for the caregiver. A little bit of work for you, but in the long run, it's a good thing. So, depending on where your loved one is in the disease process, we're going to have a few conversations that might be uncomfortable for them, but if they're still able to make decisions, let's have these conversations. If they're not, then they're things you need to work out on your own. But these are things we need to do early on in our own lives, and they are these things. You need to state which hospital you prefer, which hospital your loved one prefers. If you're doing this in advance for you or in advance for them, which hospital you prefer. I can tell you in my town, when I was in South Carolina, there was a local hospital. I could go 15 miles and be across the state line. There's several hospitals. Same thing here in Florida where we are. Which hospital do you prefer? Write that down and make sure your power of attorney knows that your husband or your child or whomever the important people are, they know what you have written down. Also talk about which rehab facility you like best should you need it. What if mom falls and breaks her hip? She goes to the hospital, you've opted to have hip replacement, and now she's got to go to rehab. At the very last minute, they're going to come into the hospital and they're going to go, you have done so well, Miss Johnson, and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday, and tomorrow morning, Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we're going to discharge you to rehab. You need to find a rehab. And that's how it works. They don't give you a couple days notice. Sometimes they'll come in the morning and tell you that you need to move out that afternoon. It's the craziest bunch of junk, but I'm telling you, it's what happens. So if you have already toured rehab communities and you know the ones you like and the ones you dislike, you can have that list made. And they're happy for you to come tour. That is something they do. But realize you're going to list your top 3 or top 4 communities. Realize that you're still only going to get in where a bed is available, but at least we know if we have 2 or 3 beds available, which one you prefer. I would like for you to tour assisted living communities before you need to. Okay, so we broke the hip, we went to the hospital, we went to rehab, we have finished rehab. You can only stay in rehab as long as you are making progress. Medicare will pay for you to stay a certain number of days, but if you quit improving or you cease to participate in activities because you just don't want to, you got to move yourself out. And so maybe then you need to go to an assisted living. Well, which one do you want? Again, we're going to take time ahead in life and we're going to tour all the assisted livings that we even think we might be interested in. Before you do that, you're going to call Carol or you're going to email me, carol@letstalkdementia.org, and we're going to talk about this, and I can help you find that assisted living, and I would like to register you at that assisted living as one of my clients. And in full disclosure, if you move there or your loved one moves there and I referred you in advance, they will pay me a referral fee. Sure would appreciate that. It's one of the ways we keep our ministry going. So just let me help you with that. But we've made a list ahead of time that says contact Carol at this phone number, and these are the assisted livings that I'm interested in. I've already toured. Now you want to call them and tell them you're just planning in advance. You're not ready to move. You got no idea when it's going to happen, but you want to come see their community and you'd really like to have lunch. It's called free meal. That's always a good thing. But you want to have that meal because what if you really like the community but the food is awful? That's something you sort of need to know. So you want to go and experience assisted livings, find out their pricing, put that information down, the date you went, who you talked to, their phone numbers. Just do a little bit of legwork. Yeah, it's a pain in the patootie, but one day you may be glad you did it. I would like for you to investigate in-home care companies. All right, so we went to the hospital because we broke our hip. We went to rehab. Now we're coming back home. We're not going to an assisted living, but we're going to need a little extra help for 5 weeks or 8 weeks. Then what in-home care company, licensed in-home care company, do we want to use? You've already investigated. You've had them come out. You've interviewed them. You found out how do they hire their employees? What questions? What background checks? What do they know about them? Do their employees have their own cars? Now that's an important question, because if that company is hiring employees that are depending on neighbors or husbands or whatever to provide transportation, it's very likely they're not going to be able to show up at work one day because they don't have a dang car. You don't want that. So you're going to make a list of the in-home care companies you like. I would like for you, as soon as you can, to meet with a financial planner, a financial advisor, somebody who, as Dave Ramsey of Financial Peace University says, has the heart of a teacher. If you sit down with a financial planner who tries to just look so smart and important and you're just like, oh, I'm so confused, or they talk down to you, or if you're a female and you go with your husband and they pretend you're not in the room, well, then don't be in the room. Just get up and leave and go, I will not be treated like this. I want to work with someone who respects who I am and the money that I have to invest. They can help you make a plan for the future. They can help you discern, can you afford assisted living one day, and at what level can you afford it? Should you go ahead and buy a long-term care policy, and what benefits do you need in that policy? They can help you with all of that. I want you to find your DD-214 if you're a veteran or the spouse of a veteran. That's the discharge paper. I want you to find that and put it with all of these other documents. These are things that we need. In addition, we need your insurance policies all in one place, your checking account and savings account, maybe a copy of one of the statements, any kind of investments you have, anywhere you've got a title to something or a deed to something. All of this needs to be in one place. Now, where are we going to put it? Well, I call it a love box, and you can go to Walmart or Lowe's or wherever, and you can buy just a black metal box with the key, and you're going to put it all in there, and then you're going to keep a key, and you're going to give a key to maybe your husband or your child or absolutely your power of attorney at least needs to know where the key is so they can access all of this stuff. And especially whoever your beneficiary, your executor is of your will, they need to be able to access that stuff. So it needs to be in a place that can happen. Maybe it's a safe, or maybe you have a safe deposit box, whatever. Maybe you're just going to put it in a drawer in your dresser. I don't care. Put it all in one good, safe place. One thing that nowadays needs to go in that love box that 10 years ago did not, would be the passwords and usernames for your online accounts. That's very important. Put that there so your folks can go online and access anything they might need to. If you have gotten that POA together, it would be good to send a copy of the power of attorney paperwork to the various account holders that you have, so that they know if you were incapacitated for whatever reason, or you just needed help, that your power of attorney has the right to act on your behalf, because here's the paperwork showing that. But you're going to put all of that in that love box, and that's going to be a good place for your loved ones to go to when the time comes that they need to help you or to act on your behalf, or maybe you've passed. And speaking of passing, it's not a bad idea, while everything is feeling pretty good in your world and in the life of your LO, to go ahead and go to the funeral home and make those plans. I can tell you, I called my mama, I would say, 7-8 years before she ever passed, one day, and I said, Mama, what you doing? And I said, how about, when I finish work today, we go to the funeral home and plan your funeral? To which my mama said, you know something I don't know? I said, what I know is I don't want to have to figure all this out when my mind and my heart are all confused, in a state of stress and sadness and grief. So we did. We went and sat down, and Mama told them what she wanted, and we had to list things like her brother's middle names. I did not know that. And just background information about family, like, her daddy's middle name. I didn't know that. So things like that. She was there, and then she could also say, this is the songs that I want, and this is who I want to speak, and blah, blah. I want to be cremated. I want to be buried here. All of that is listed and was put in the love box. So just a good thought, something maybe will help make life easier for you as your caregiving journey continues and as life continues, because life is going to change. You need to make a plan. A special thanks to our sponsors, HD Imports, 803-985-0985. They are located in York County, South Carolina, and they do amazing maintenance and repair of Honda, Hyundais, Acura, Toyota, and Kia. Beth Crosby, she's my editor and just recently come on board. I'm so happy to have her. But if you have anything in the written form that has your name attached to it, make sure Beth's eyes take a look at it. National Association of Veterans and Families, 800-352-2919. They speak veteran, so you don't have to, and that's the folks you want to call to get benefits to help pay for the care of your veteran or the spouse of the veteran, or both. Write me at carol@letstalkdementia.org, and then, whoops, wrong button, check out our Amazon bestseller, Let's Talk Dementia. I hope you wait, one more thing before I leave. I was about to forget. Our show is always in honor of the goodness of the Lord and in memory of my sweet mama. Look at that picture. She would shoot me for showing you that picture. That hairdo. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you guys remember Vestal Goodman. She sang gospel music, had that tall hair. That's what that reminds me of. Mama with our dog Manager, a much overweight dachshund. But I remember one time Mama got her hair done. She got it done every Saturday, and on Sunday when she went to get in the car, it was so high up on her head she had to push it down, get in the car, and let go of it, and it popped back up. I'm glad we don't wear our hair like that anymore. I hope you have a great caregiving journey. Blessings and smiles on your day. Bye-bye.